My rumbling stomach. Good evening, Lodi. I hope you all are doing well. It's great to see you. We are coming today from the Lodi Public Library in their fabulous program room, which we're going to talk a little bit more about in a few minutes. My guest tonight is Alex LeClaire. But before I bring Alex on, of course, I have a few things to chat with you all about. Of course, this is called The View from 202, which is my office number at City Hall. First thing I wanted to mention was I'm trying to get some energy, community energy around doing some visioning and strategic planning for the city. I have felt for quite some time like Lodi is on this precipice, and we have amazing, incredible things happening in a whole lot of different areas around the community, but they're kind of happening in these little silos, and there's not a lot of cross communication. And while really cool things are happening, I'm not so sure we're all kind of rowing in the same direction. So, excuse me, I figure a great winter project would be to get a group of folks who are interested together to do some visioning, looking 5-10 years down the line. Who do we want to be? What do we want to be known for? What kind of community do we want to be? What are our core values as a community? I think it's such incredibly important work. And I sat on city council for 5 years before being elected mayor, and haven't had this conversation yet. And we do have a comprehensive plan for the city that the Plan Commission is currently updating. And we do have a parks comprehensive plan. But I feel like, again, all of these have great initiatives and great goals as part of them, but kind of what are we headed toward? And excuse me, and I have to say, pardon me, it's allergy time in Wisconsin, and I just call it my Wisconsin phlegm. This is not COVID. I do have a mask here, but this is not COVID. I live like a hermit. Anyway, so excuse me when I do this. I just feel like we need to figure out who we want to be. And the reason I ran for mayor in the first place, and I've said this over and over again, is of all the things that are out of our control, the thing that's in our control is our own community. And I think this pandemic has brought home to all of us how special it is to live in a small town, particularly this small town, and to be able to buy food and we know where it's been raised and grown, and neighbors helping neighbors, and the incredible support for the food distributions on Friday mornings, and the great things our service clubs do, and the schools are amazing. But again, all of this is sort of leading up to what, and so I really want to get some community members together, and perhaps some folks from city council, some just residents of Lodi who are passionate about living here and excited to help shape where we're going to go as a city. So I have my contact info here. I'm going to hope that you can read it. It's agrovesloyd@cityoflodi.us. Again, that's agrovesloyd@cityoflodi.us, or 608-573-2117 is my city cell phone. Again, that's 608-573-2117. Please reach out to me if you're interested in getting involved. I have talked with some friends of mine who do this sort of strategic planning facilitation, and they're very good at it, and they are interested in working with us. So I would just like to get some people together to help us figure out how to find finances to bring this consulting group in, and people who just want to be involved. So please reach out to me. I'd love to talk with you, hear from you, hear your thoughts, and see how we can harness the passion and energy and creativity of the amazing people who live in this community to help carve out a path for where we want to go. A reminder that when you go to the City of Lodi website, which is cityoflodi.us, again, that's cityoflodi.us, when you scroll down, get past the picture on top, there are a number of icons. There's an agenda and minutes and a calendar, and I can't remember what else, but one of them is an icon that says notify me. And with that icon, you can go in and sign up to get alerts. And we want to make sure that people are getting the alerts that they need. You can sign up for emergency alerts. You can sign up for snow alerts. If there's a snow emergency in town, you can sign up to find out when the pool's open, if the pool's going to close early or not be open at all because of weather. There's just a ton of things that you can get whenever an agenda gets posted for a particular committee or the Common Council. You can get notified about all of those things, and you can sign up to get notified by email or by text alert. Please take a minute to sign up so we can make sure we're keeping you informed of what's happening in the city and when perhaps urgent or emergency situations should arrive. I'm going to once again harp on being good citizens. Living in a community means that you not only care about yourself, but you care about your friends and neighbors. And it means taking care of our community like you want to take care of your own backyard. I weekly get complaints from people about our friends and neighbors perhaps letting their doggies do their business on a lawn and not picking it up. That is one of the biggest complaints I get. Please, if you're going to be a pet parent, and I am the very proud, happy parent of 2 furry babies, but I carry a dookie bag with me when I take them out. It is unlawful to leave residue from your pets around the community. Please, please, please carry a bag with you, pick up after your dog. It's just part of being a good neighbor. We're working on finding a dog park. If we have a dog park, you still have to pick up after your pooch, but we're hoping to have somewhere where people can take their dogs off leash. All of us like to let our doggies run and get their exercise, but often that includes a little bathroom break while they're out and about, and we need to be prepared. So another area that's a big concern is people letting their dogs run over on the grounds at the school, especially the middle school and high school. There's lots of open area there, and especially right now when the students aren't in school in person, they're doing online school. It's very tempting to say, ooh, look at all that green space, and my pets and I can go run over there, and if they do their business, no one will know. But kids play over there, people walk over there, the Ice Age trailhead is over there, and nobody wants to be stepping in your dog's waste. So please, please, please pick up after your pets. Excuse me. So leaf collection. It is beginning to be fall. I've seen some trees turning color already, which is a little dismaying, although beautiful. Leaf collections will begin in October. So I have actually had somebody tell me that they've seen neighbors trying to shove leaves down the city sewer system, down the storm water. Don't do that. We will pick up your leaves. We have leaf collection throughout October, and I think if necessary into November. Break up your leaves, get them to the edge of your lawn, but not in the gutter. Do not put them in the gutter. Do not let them clog up the storm water system. I'm just taking a look here. Also a reminder that burning leaves within the city limits is prohibited. And we do have a compost site on Highway K, which is Columbus Street. Drive up to the top of Main Street, take a left. And there's a compost site out there. You can take grass clippings, garden waste, and your leaves out there if you want to do it yourself. Otherwise, wait for leaf pickup. There's not a schedule set right now for leaf pickup, but it will be posted on the city website. But don't burn leaves. If you've been in this valley when there's no wind, if somebody burns something, it just sits here. And if you want to have your windows open, it smells up your whole house, and it's illegal. So please don't burn your leaves. Some good news and happy news, trick-or-treating is just around the corner, and we've made some decisions, and trick-or-treating is going to happen. Yay. It was probably going to happen whether we wanted it to or not. But the chamber is going to again sponsor business trick-or-treat. Halloween this year is on a Saturday, so the business trick-or-treating in downtown Lodi is going to be on Friday, October 30th from 3:30 to 5:30. Businesses will be outside handing out candy. on the street, so you don't have to go into any place. We're going to do it as safely as possible. So again, that's Friday, October 30th, 3:30 to 5:30. And we have set the hours for the community-wide trick-or-treating for Saturday, October 31st, again from 3:30 to 5:30. Since it's on a weekend day this year, we can get kids out while the daylight is still upon us and get them home before dark settles in. So 3:30 to 5:30 on Halloween Day will be trick-or-treating. Watch for, again, the hours and the guidelines for safety, which will be posted on the city's Facebook page and website as soon as we get those guidelines put together. But I wanted to let everybody know those dates are coming fast upon us. So let's get to the fun, excuse me, this evening. I'm going to invite Alex to come join me. A little background, I was fortunate enough to serve 3 years on the library board of directors here, board of trustees. During that time, I had the great pleasure of serving a year as president. And right before I served as president, I served on a hiring and search committee for a new director, and we hired Alex, yay, a year and a half ago. And Alex has been a fantastic addition to our community and a wonderful addition to the library. Alex, thank you for joining me tonight.
You're welcome.
And this program room has been Alex's vision. It's gone through an incredible transformation, and we'll talk a little bit more about that in a couple minutes. But I wanted to start off with, so how'd you end up in Lodi, Alex? What's your career path been?
Sure. Well, as far as being in libraries, I got my first job at a library when I was in school at UW-Madison. So I lived on Mifflin, and I was able to walk down to the central branch as a shelver and a library page. Met my wife there, but I moved around a bit, tried other things, but I always kind of came back and was a page or a clerk. When I moved out to Washington, D.C., I got a job at the central Arlington branch and did like AV assistant work. So I've always kind of been working in libraries. My mom was a librarian. She's an elementary school librarian. My dad was a principal. So I feel like I'm kind of become a combination of their jobs. But, you know, I was an adult reference librarian at Waukesha. I went to graduate school 2008, 2010. Got hired in Waukesha. I was there for about 7 years. And then I was director at Barneveld for a couple of years. And then I got the job here.
Excellent. Yeah, we were very fortunate to steal him away from Barneveld. Sorry, Barneveld, if any of you are watching. So it's been over a year and a half now, as we were discussing. So what have been some highlights of this year and a half, aside from COVID?
Yeah.
That's probably a low light, but
Yeah,
we'll get to that as a separate topic.
There's been a lot. There's been a lot of changes, a lot of things we've done differently. So it's been kind of a whirlwind, but it's been good. I mean, our programming numbers were really good. Our summer reading program, especially when we first started, was really good. Really good numbers, good participation, good energy. You know, the story time crowd has been great, and that's one of the things where I play guitar and read the stories, and it's just created a good crowd, and it's fun for me to do. I miss doing that. That's on Wednesdays, and I developed a program called Build and Balance, where we have building materials for the kids, and then we also have the balance materials. So that's the combination of the story time, getting the kids up and moving, then also giving them something creative to do, kind of STEM activity. It's just a really good program, so I'm proud of that. The staff is really good here, and I feel very lucky. I met them at the interview. So that was one of the reasons why I was excited to come work here, and that's been really fortunate just because we get along really well.
That's wonderful.
So that's, I feel like, a really important thing for just, especially now when it's not so fun, you know, to be dealing with all the different things you have to deal with. It's good to have good relationships with your colleagues. So, but we've done a lot of changes. We've instituted something called the Lucky Day, where we have extra copies of popular materials, books, DVDs now, and video games now too. That's something we instituted when COVID hit. We thought it might be something that people want to do if they're at home a lot more. Plus they circulate really well. So that's been cool. That's been really nice. I mean, because a lot of times, you know, we're a small community compared to the larger communities within the library system, South Central Library System. So we benefit from the large collections of like a Verona or somewhere like that, and we get the materials from them. So a lot of times, if materials like a book or something has a long hold list, we'll send it out right away. So it's nice to have an additional copy that we can hold here for people coming in from our community, so that when you come in, you can pick up your holds, you can browse the collection, but you can also know when you come in that there's a really good chance you're going to find something that's cool every time you come in. So that's been
Great.
great. We've had renovation projects, which have been great. We've won a lot of grants. We've got a really good relationship with the friends. The friends are really crucial for us. So yeah, there's been a lot of really fun stuff. Replaced a lot of computers. We have 6 new Wi-Fi access points. It's a lot of fun stuff.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Excellent. So I still run into people who are of the notion that a library is simply a transactional place and it's mostly about books. If I were to say that to you, how would you tell me what a library looks like today?
That's a good question. And it's funny because I used to have this, and I still do. The libraries, obviously, we have video games now. We have movies. We have audiobooks. We have the virtual, access to books. Really, a lot of users in Wisconsin and the nation. We're second only to Toronto, the state digital library. So,
wow.
So we circulate more than the Ohio State system, more than New York City. But
wow.
we have. I mean, books are still crucial, but we have, services. We have the copy machine, fax. We have computers. We have movies, audiobooks. But books are still really crucial. And it's funny because I used to say the same thing to people a lot, where like we are more than that, almost to the point where I feel like I was going too far into like books don't matter. But that's not what I think. I think, and lately I've been trying to push that, getting back to some traditional like literacy, how important literacy is. And I think maybe I've been thinking about that a lot more because of missing story time. That's such a crucial part of the literacy with singing and the kids singing the songs, and kind of because I have a routine I do, and they can do it back, and I feel like that's really crucial. My son's 6, so I've seen his language develop too, so I'm really super conscious of that with other kids. So yeah, we do a lot of other things, but literacy books are still crucial. What's your favorite memory as a child from a library? I don't know. Mine is probably going to my mom's library, because I grew up in Luxembourg, which is a small town, like 15 minutes northeast of Green Bay. A lot like Lodi is to Madison, actually. Okay. In terms of like a smaller rural community being closer to a larger kind of urban center. And Green Bay has a library, but Luxembourg didn't. So they still don't have a public library. Really? They have an access point, I think, where Algoma sends things. But so yeah, we would go to the Green Bay Library, public library, sometimes for research projects. When I was I remember getting stuff on like the rainforest. But otherwise, my memories are going to my mom's library, especially in the summertime. And in those days, and I'm old enough to where you can had the wooden sticks you would put into places to hold your place in the shelves. And pull out a book. At least what that library did. So playing on the old Apple IIs. Yep. Oh yeah. Growing up here in Lodi, the building that's now, I think it's 113 South Main, is the old city hall, and the library was on the first floor, and it was pretty good sized. And I grew up in the country, and I was the youngest. My brothers are 5 and 7 years older, and I think I was more of a pest than anything else. So from a very early age, books were my best friend. And I would sit in the bathtub, and I'd have shampoo bottles to hold my book, and I'd be in there till I was a prune from head to toe, hours. I was called bookworm often in high school. So books for me, to this day, I average at least an hour reading in the night and in the early morning when I first get up. Books just transport you. They feed your imagination, and literacy is so important, but finding that passion for reading is so critical. So yes, books of course are incredibly important, and that's why libraries exist. But I think especially now when people are having to do more at home, we've become so aware of the lack in many places of internet access. I know I have seen people in the parking lot here camping on the Wi-Fi. Do you get a lot of folks coming in just for Wi-Fi access? Yeah, you do, for sure. And people I wish the building has some obstacles, because there's a lot of brick. So that creates some problems. And just the way it's constructed, we were trying to look into getting an external access point for Wi-Fi where people could do that kind of thing, but just apparently, this is not my area of expertise, but because of the way the building is designed, so we also installed a security system and that had
sure.
some issues with where you would put things. But
Mhm.
we do see people out there using it, which is great. I mean, we want people to be able to use it. So
Absolutely.
coming into the building and using it, it's one of the nice things. I mean, it's one of the things you miss maybe from people if they're not feeling as comfortable going out nowadays.
Yeah.
Because if it's a hot day, the idea of going to an air conditioned environment where you can just look at your phone for like an hour or your laptop or whatever, just to relax, or to get work done, people to get that done. So we're happy to provide that as we can.
That's awesome. So you mentioned how much you enjoy story time. You have a number of colleagues here. What are their different areas of passion or expertise?
Yeah, that's a good question. I would say Becky is really great as a circulation leader, and so I hope to get her to have a kind of supervisory title because she does a lot of supervisory stuff. She is fantastic with the public, and
Awesome.
And I like that just because it's the kind of skill that's the hardest to teach.
Yeah.
You can teach a lot of library skills. Teaching people skills is pretty hard.
Mhm.
So she lives in the community. She cares about the community.
Mhm.
So she's great for that. Great attention to detail. It's nice for me to have some bigger vision stuff and then have some like detail stuff and delegate to her and feel totally confident it's
That's
going to
awesome.
get done.
Yes,
So that's
fantastic.
great. John is a history guy. He worked at the Historical Society. He's a published author. He's also an artist. So a lot of creative tasks he helps with. He has an interest in history, which has been good when looking for history equipment. Our microfilm machine broke down, so we're kind of looking for something to replace that. What do we do with that? And honestly, he has some maintenance skills. So if we're like installing the shelves or we're trying to fix something, he and I can kind of try to figure it out. And it's usually him more than me. But so he's great. I mean, the whole staff is great. And Jody, she has her master's in librarianship. So she does a lot of the behind the scenes stuff that you don't see. I mean, and she does programming as well. She does the book club. She does a bunch of other stuff, but she does a lot of like managing the outer library loans, and she processes the magazines and does all these things where you have to keep track of a lot of more professional kind of range stuff. And Lori does that as well. She's been here. She's had a lot of experience in this particular library. So she's a great cataloger and great with, I mean, they're all great with the public, but that's what I would say.
That's great. And John does a photography club?
Yep, he does the photo club too. Yep.
Excellent.
So yeah, and we're looking at, because we won a grant, a new one. We didn't, we got it through the library system.
Okay.
So, and it's something, I don't know if it's technically a part of the CARES Act, but we're looking at how to spend that money. I'm going to be talking to the, a rep from the SCLS tomorrow about that, but we're looking at getting a camera that could potentially be used for projects with the school and other fun projects. But more on that later, I guess.
Okay,
we'll see if we
excellent.
can spend it on that.
I know you are like the grant rainmaker, which is fantastic. Tell us a little bit about the podcasting grant that you got last year.
Yeah, that's been a lot of fun. In fact, we just recorded one a little bit before this, but
cool.
I'm a podcast fan, and so I was always looking at it as something that I thought would be fun for the library to do, just because a lot of the podcasts that I listen to are cultural, and so it's like books, it's movies, it's sports, it's all the stuff that kind of makes life fun and meaningful, and the library fits into that really well. So I thought the library could do something like that someday. And I just would look up stuff every once in a while, thinking it would be, because, podcast equipment can get kind of expensive. And I just happened upon Sweetwater's like Rodecaster Pro, or researched it, thought it would be great. And wrote the grant for a Wills grant, and we got it, $5,000. Half of it paid for equipment, half of it paid for interns.
Awesome. And
that turned into the Ducktown podcast. So we've interviewed people. Interviewed you. Thank you for that. And try to interview people in the community to put up there. But it's also been a collaboration with the school. Hopefully that continues again, and when things settle into place more. But we're also we have a movie podcast part of it now too, so it's a lot of fun.
That's excellent. Those partnerships with the school district, and I know you and I had talked at one point in time about we're losing a generation of leaders here in the community and trying to
Mhm.
capture their histories, their stories of the community. That's such a critical thing to have happen.
Mhm.
So Ducktown, the podcasts are available on the website, I assume?
You can stream it on our website. Otherwise, anywhere you get your podcasts. If you listen on Spotify, you get Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts.
That's
Anywhere
so
you get your
cool.
podcast, you can, if you have an Alexa, you can say play the Ducktown podcast. It'll play the newest Ducktown podcast.
Sweet.
So yeah, there's so anywhere you get them, and it's had an effect. Going with the class, we had 11 seniors that we worked with. We worked with the chemistry 2 class,
Uh-huh.
and really talented kids. It was a good group because they were high achieving. And we didn't totally know how it was going to go,
Mhm.
and or how much work it would be, and so it was a lot of work, but we knew that we could rely on them to kind of do the work as well. So there was a
Mhm.
kind of meeting halfway, and I just talked to one of the students who is going to UW-Madison now, and she works at the coffee shop, Julia, and she's taking a class in radio this fall.
Oh,
as a
that's
result
fantastic.
So it's cool to think that you might have an impact, on, because she has a real talent for audio editing and storytelling. So
very cool.
it's cool to have like a small role in that.
That's amazing. All right. So something happened in March this year. Oh yeah, the pandemic.
Yeah.
So mid-March, the lockdown happened in the States. So what happened with you all here, and how has the transition to where we're at now happened? Or where are we now?
Yeah. Well, we shut down like everybody else, and we transitioned to working from home, particularly the desk staff and I. We were communicating through Slack, and instant messaging client, and Zoom meetings and things like that, and that helped to recreate some of the feeling of being in a workplace. And sometimes it feels like it was more work because it seems like you're never really off. You can kind of always, like, I'd always be getting dings from people sending me messages on there.
Of course, yeah.
So it was hard for that reason. And then also eventually coming to the building, preparing to open again. I knew we wanted to open to the public. So I was thinking pretty early on, what do we need to do? How do we, I don't know, make people feel safe? So we don't have a ton of space here, and that was something I was concerned about. So I moved things around in a weird way. That's been kind of nice because it's like it's caused us to create more space. So I took out some furniture, and it feels nicer in the space. That's a kind of happy accident, I think, of what's going on. But I bought like acrylic sneeze guards and hung those. And that went well, thank God, because I'm not like a super handy guy, but I made it work. And so they work. Looking for, like everybody else, looking for hand sanitizer, wipes, and all that stuff. Developing a plan, a policy, communicating with staff. All that stuff's been kind of the pain part of it, like this stuff, like the not so fun stuff. Yeah. Writing a CARES grant because we probably spent, I don't know, $6,000 on COVID related stuff.
Sure.
So we got a $7,500 grant to help with operational, and a lot of that's gone to materials. So because that's one of the places kind of had some discretion to spend or not spend money. And so a lot of times if something comes up, it kind of has to come out of materials. So so thank you to the CARES Act grant. So
excellent.
Yeah.
Excuse me. And I know you had curbside pickup for a while before you opened. Are you still offering curbside pickup?
Yep. We still, if you want to use curbside pickup, you can call, or if you have holds you want to pick up, you can just call us when you're here in the parking lot. We'll check out your materials and put them in your trunk or hand them to you. You can return things that way too. If you want to come in, that's great. But if you want to do it that way, we're more than happy to do that.
Is your circulation kind of back where it was prior to the pandemic, or is it still down some?
It's still down, although looking at, because you can see a snapshot of all the libraries, and there's like a little over 60 libraries that circulate materials in South Central, and at least that I see statistics for. And we were probably percentage-wise down, like, I don't know what, 14th best. We're like, I don't know if that makes sense, but we were doing better than a lot of libraries were doing percentage-wise. And it's a weird thing to say, actually, now that I think about it. But I was like worried about what it was going to be like.
Yeah, absolutely.
So as soon as we opened, July was closer to what it was last year, but obviously there's been a drop that we've lost with circulation. So
Great. Okay, so I wanted to talk about funding, and it's sort of a Pandora's box. Alex and I have had many conversations about the convoluted and complex way that libraries are funded. So a little bit of information about that I'll give, and then Alex can augment. So the library receives funding from the tax rolls in Columbia County. So the county turns around and gives the library, based on circulation, gives them money every year. It's based on their total operational budget, but they're only mandated to give the library 70% of what their operational budget is. So Columbia County has a library board, and they decide every year what they're able to do for funding. How much are you getting these days?
From where?
From Columbia County.
Oh, I'd have to look at the numbers.
Is it still
specifically? Yeah,
75% of your operating
Oh, right.
budget?
Yeah. So but that's not technically right.
Oh,
but
okay. See, it is complicated. Even I don't know.
No,
when
yeah,
I was president of the board.
It is convoluted. It's circulation to Columbia County residents who live somewhere that doesn't have a home library. So that would be like your town of Lodi and things like that. So because we are providing a service, and so the state has created this very abstract, convoluted formula, and you can, long story short, you can reimburse up to 100% of these convoluted numbers, but you have to have a minimum of 70% reimbursement from these counties nearby us that don't have a home library. Circulations, checkouts from our library.
Okay.
And so we try to advocate to the Columbia County Board every year to try to increase that, because Dane County, as an example, they reimburse at 100%. And if Columbia County reimbursed at 100%, just looking at the previous year's data that going into this year, which uses like 2018, that's the numbers that are used for, it's like 2-year lag, we would have had close to $30,000 more dollars.
Wow. So
just if we were moved over into Dane County, everything remaining equal, if the reimbursement percentage rate was just up to 100%. Again, it's complicated, and it's not going to make any sense for what we said, but it's something that we need to try to advocate for, to try to improve what they reimburse at, so that we can have more money to do fun stuff.
Yes. So, and it's also based only on physical circulation of books, not electronic circulation or program numbers or any of that sort of thing. So it's a very narrow snapshot, and I think the funding formula was developed in the 70s or 80s.
Yeah, that sounds right.
And has not been updated since, which is a little bit of dismaying. For those of you who live in the city of Lodi who watch this, we do not, through our taxes, we do not contribute to the library in the way that they get money from, say, town of Lodi residents. The city of Lodi does an appropriation out of our budget to the library, which is quite a bit more than what we would be giving if we just did it through the same funding formula. In fact, last night at the city council meeting, we passed a resolution, which I think we do every year, asking to be exempted from this formula, because then we just give more money directly to the library without going through all of that. Your total budget is 280, 260?
Yeah, no, it's less than that. It's last year, it depends what you mean by your budget, because if you go by expenses, last year I think it was like 260.
That's 260,000.
Yes,
I should say. So the city of Lodi, I think, gives about 128,500 or something like that. The town of Lodi does make an additional appropriation above and beyond the property tax support. The town supports with another $6,000 annually.
Which we love.
Which we thank them very much for. We also get additional grants once in a while from, I think Decorah has. Yeah,
town of Arlington, town of Dane.
Excellent. Yeah, this resource is so amazing. So other ways that you can help support the library. So the Friends of the Lodi Public Library are an essential they're the fundraising arm of the library, and they were the library had some financial challenges a few years ago. It was thanks to the Friends support that we were able to get out of those financial challenges. You will all soon be seeing in your mailboxes, I think it's in October, the annual appeal goes out. Is that right?
Oh, yeah, we're working on that now.
Okay.
So the Friends are developing that right now.
Okay.
Yeah, that's a huge help. That's our biggest fundraiser.
So when you get a letter from the Lodi Public Library in the mail, please think about making a donation. Every penny counts. So if you can afford to send $10, $5, $20 or more, please think about doing that. That annual appeal generates a lot of money for the library. And since that's raised by the Friends, the library can use it for fun things like
Sure.
program enhancements. And the Friends also puts on a run every year in the spring.
August.
Virtual this year, of course,
Yeah.
like everyone
Yeah.
else's. Don't let me forget to get my t-shirts
Okay.
before I leave tonight.
Oh, right.
One of the ways, so being a lifelong resident here and multi-generation resident, my mom was president of the library board and on the library board. My grandmother was. And being involved with the library was really important to me to help continue this legacy. When my mom passed away 18 years ago yesterday, we put together 2 memorials for people to give to. One was to the library, and the other one, we started a scholarship at the University of Wisconsin-Madison that goes to a Lodi student every year in my parents' name. But when a loved one passes, it's a tragic time, but you can encourage people to give memorials to some place. And sometimes you'll see, for instance, the Carbone Cancer Center or hospice or the Lodi Public Library. And the library is a place that's fortunately thought of often when someone passes. And I encourage you to think about that. Parts of this room were due to very generous memorial donations. One when Mary Jean Gorse passed away, the Gorse family was there was a big memorial, and the Gorse family augmented that, and we were able to buy these nice tables and chairs, thanks to the Gorse family's generosity. I know when Carla Homry Thoffney passed away, and I forgive me, I'm missing many people that have given dedicated memorials to the library. It's just one way that you can enhance someone's legacy by leaving a footprint here at the library. If I wanted to get involved with helping the library out, is there a way to get involved with Friends, and how could I make a financial donation just directly?
Yeah, you can. The Friends is the best way to help out. To make a donation. If you go to the Friends of Lodi Public Library website, they have a way that you can donate directly to them. Otherwise, whenever the Friends holds a fundraiser, that end of the year appeal, the fun run or the run walk, the wine and chocolate event, we have end of the year Christmas tree kind of gift where we put books on a cart and people can donate to someone's name or in someone's memory. That's a little bit of a small one, but it's nice and it helps. That's a collection help. But yeah, whenever the Friends hold a fundraiser, if you want to join the Friends have a fundraising committee that your ideas are great too. So if you want to try to help with that, we always are looking for volunteers. That's the thing I know the Friends have mentioned before, because if we have volunteers, that we can do more events, because you can't have 2 or 3 people or however many people are available to do everything. So you got to have more people, or the better. Obviously, money is always great. So donating to us in a variety of ways. You can always write a check to us at the library too if you want to do that. But sometimes people write checks and they want it donated to something specific, and we're happy to do that. We had a memorial donation of $1,000, and the family wanted it to go to children's books, and we're happy to do that. So they really help us to expand and thrive. It's a strange thing to talk about in some ways, but in other ways it's really helped us. So
that's great. one change I forgot to mention. So when I was talking about the library and when I was a kid, and I haven't changed that much as an adult, I was a procrastinator. I'd take a book out. Oops, I would forget to return it. And I don't know about anybody else who had these issues, but for many years I had nightmares about library fines that until I went to college, and then I had finals nightmares. But as a kid, there was always this, oh, and the library fine got big, and it was intimidating. You guys made a change in that this year.
We did, yeah. So we're fine free now. Anything that you check out from our library, even if it's an item that comes from another library and it's on hold and you check it out from us, you will not get fined so long as it's not damaged or lost. If you lose an item or if you damage an item, then you'll still have some money that you'll have to pay. But if you're just late with it, if it's just overdue, you won't be fined.
That is a beautiful, beautiful thing. The fine aspect just removes a barrier from access to the library. So when you think about your library, don't think about fines. They don't exist anymore except in rare occasions, and that's really huge.
And sometimes people, just to jump in a little bit, sometimes people worry about the money that we're losing with that. Fines really make up, if you look at 2019, fines made up less than 1% and has made up less than 1% of the revenue that we make each year. So I think as an example, donations, we had somewhere in the realm of like 16% of our revenue last year was donations.
Wow.
Because we had a lot of generous donations that year.
Excellent.
So we want to encourage more of that, which feels more positive and more productive than the more punitive model, which is the fining.
Fantastic. So we're sitting in, so I mentioned that Alex is like the rainmaker of grants. So this beautiful program room now the books are in here sitting because they've been checked out, and this is sort of a way to.
Right. We are still doing, when people return items to us, we are quarantining them for a little bit, and then we check them back out.
And the TV in here and the sound system, this is a beautiful program room, and you didn't get to see it, but before we went live tonight, we shut the curtains because I wanted to hear and see the new sound. It's glorious. It's like being in a little movie theater, and not that little. And it would be nice to have a few Barca loungers in here, but I always think of a library as being the hub of a community. And so there's space here that you can use as a community member. You can rent this room for birthday parties, or, what are some things that people do? And there's a smaller room here as well.
You can use the room. We are working on having the room rented for, I guess you can definitely rent it. I don't know if rent is the word, that you don't have to pay right now, but we're looking at using the space with the movie theater and various other things. I don't want to talk about them because they haven't really been done yet, but we are looking at a way to have the space, especially now with movie theaters being closed. But yeah, it would be a great place to have a birthday party or even just a private movie showing, where you can watch something that feels like being in a movie theater. And we have a refrigerator, and we're working on some food stuff as well. So we're gonna have to maybe change the locks so that people can be here after hours, that kind of stuff, to get keys. But it's definitely something we're working on, and I think will be a nice service to the community.
This will be a sweet sound system. So grants, just to name a few of the grants that Alex has obtained in the past, Rotary, Optimist, LACE, which is the Lodi Area Community Endowment Fund, the Packers Foundation, who am I missing?
Wills.
Which is the Wisconsin.
It's the Wisconsin Library System, I believe is what it stands for. But that's where we got the podcast equipment from.
Oh, excellent.
But we got, I'm trying to think. We also Salk Healthcare Foundation for healthy living programming. That's been pushed into 2021 because that's supposed to be this summer. But we got that. I don't know what else I'm forgetting.
No, that's good.
We got the CARES grant. That was $7,500. So
that's great.
Yeah.
Alex has been amazing in augmenting the library's limited funding. What does it cost to get a library card?
$10. No, it's free.
Free.
It's free. All you need is a photo ID and proof of where you live. So
pretty simple to be able to access our library.
Yep.
Are people coming in? Is the library seeing a fair amount of foot traffic again?
Yeah, people are coming in. Yeah, I mean, it's down from what it would be in normal times, I guess you might say, but we definitely have people coming in, and it's up from where it was when we first initially opened. People, were concerned or are concerned or just didn't know we were open yet. We do our best to get the word out for that kind of thing. So yeah, definitely it's picking up.
Excellent. So if you don't have a library card, come get a library card.
Yes.
Use the library. Digital books. I was a book collector. My husband will happily tell you about the books upon books upon books that I used to buy. I've gone pretty much digital now, although I still love the feel of a book and the smell. But you can borrow things digitally, electronically, so you can read stuff electronically on a Nook or a Kindle or an iPad or whatever device you have.
Your phone?
Yes, your phone. If you haven't checked out the library website, what is the address?
LodiPublicLibrary.org.
That's pretty easy, LodiPublicLibrary.org. So go check out their website. Alex, other things you want to make sure people know?
I don't think so. That's pretty much it. Yeah, if you have any questions, you can come and talk to us. We're always happy to see people. Yeah.
Last thing, what are your hours these days?
Well, that's a good question. That might be changing a little bit, but right now it's 9 to 7 Monday through Thursday, 9 to 5 on Friday, and 9 to 1 on Saturday.
Fantastic. Well, we hope to see you down here at the library. One last plug to get in touch with me if you want to help create our vision for our beautiful community. We'll be back in 2 weeks. In 2 weeks, we'll be broadcasting from the new Willow Tree Wellness facility across the street. And the amazing women there, Stephanie Caves, Stephanie Manley, Sarah Kieski, and Carla Wiesing are going to be my guests. It is a spectacular facility, and we're going to learn about all the wellness services that are available there. And you can check out the LodiValleyChronicle.com website to look at future shows. So looking forward to seeing you again in 2 weeks. And thanks again, Alex. It was great chatting with you.